Captain Peter Cutsey, Part 3, Airspeed Unreliable. We're just picking up where we left off in the last part. We were down to number 11 on the QRH. Choose one, captain or first officer's airspeed indication is reliable. The flight director switch for the reliable side on. So if you can remember, it was the captain's side that was reliable. So the flight director switch on the captain's side on, and go to step 14. Step 14 says autopilot reliable side if needed engaged. So that's the captain's decision with respect to if needed. Well, unless there are other reasons why you shouldn't, try to offload the workload by using the autopilot if you feel happy with that. And if the autopilot isn't functioning properly, then you can go back to manual flying. Remember, the note here says autopilot may not engage or may disengage automatically. So that's up to the captain to decide. The if needed statement. Remember, you can always fly the airplane manually. Do not use the auto throttle. Choose one. Captain. So the captain or first officer's attitude indication is reliable. In this case, the captain's attitude indicator, or altitude indicator, I should say. So use the reliable altitude indication for the remainder of the flight. So the captain's side was fine, so we'll use that for the remainder of the flight. And go to the next step, which is 17. Airplane may not meet RVSM airspace requirements. So you know what those are, so you have to remember that. Set transponder to provide reliable altitude reporting, altitude sector 1 or 2. So select the reliable side. In this case, it'll be the captain's side, number 1. Transponder, mode selector, TA, and go to step 21. Now, I provided a link here. 21 is a nuisance stick shaker may be deactivated at the pilot's discretion. So the stick shaker can be deactivated depending on which one. The left one, which is the captain's, there are the circuit breaker coordinates. And if it's the right one, it's on P6. All right, so that may be deactivated at pilot's discretion. If you have a nuisance stick shaker that is activated, you want to actually deactivate it, but leave the good one active. This improves recognition of stall warning on the opposite side. Note the elevator fuel shift may be active, resulting in increased control column forces. Choose one. Deactivating stick shaker is needed, well then do it. And then go to step 23. But let's say deactivating stick shaker is not needed. In other words, it's not actually activated. So go to step 25. Step 25 is checklist complete, except for deferred items. These are the deferred items. Review before descent. So for approach, only set the barrel minimums on the reliable PFD, that's on the captain's side for this scenario. Remove the barrel minimums from the unreliable side and make sure that's part of your briefing. Note, if barrel minimums are set only to the first officer's PFD, DA and MDA oral callouts are not provided. So that's something to remember. In this case, it's going to be on the captain's side. So go around review, refer to the performance in-flight chapter to determine the go around pitch attitude and thrust setting. We'll have a look at that in a minute. For pitch attitude, refer to flight with unreliable airspeed go around table. And for thrust setting, refer to the go around N1 table. All right. So we'll go and have a look at the performance now. So you should know how to get there fairly quickly. I've highlighted a few things. And if you've noticed, we're using a sea level airport, but in any case, flight with unreliable airspeed, turbulent air penetration, altitude, and or vertical speed indications may be unreliable. Maybe. So you know that if you actually set these settings for, let's say, max landing weight, which is 69,308 kilos for the max 8. So I've selected 70,000 kilos. Now I also selected 80,000 kilos, which is very close to the maximum takeoff weight of 82,190 kilos. So these two figures give us quite a range, max landing to max takeoff weight. If you notice, at the close to the max landing, the pitch is 16 degrees, and at close to max takeoff, it's 14 degrees. So somewhere in between, if that's where you're sitting, you're looking at the good old 15 degrees. Good to remember. Good to remember. You're used to pitching towards 15 degrees on a normal takeoff. What you actually end up with could be 17 or 18 degrees, but at least you start pitching towards 15 degrees. So that's a good thing to remember. There's also a vertical speed given here. So somewhere around 2,800 feet per minute for the in-between figure of 75,000 kilos. And the indicated speed that you would have will be halfway in between these figures here. There's 8, so 177 knots would be your indicated speed. Now, if the captain's is reliable, you can rely on that, and that's what you should be getting. But if for some reason they're not reliable, for whatever reason, you know that at this pitch, at these weights, and at these pitch references with go-around thrust that you get from the go-around N1 table in the performance, back of the performance in the same manual in the QRH, you are set. But you have to take time to brief on that and to perhaps write this down on a piece of paper in front of you, on a post-it note, whatever, on the control column, so that in the event that you have to go around, your eyes don't come off of flying the airplane. In the modern world of lovely technology with iPads and a captain looking at his iPad and first officer looking at his or her iPad, no one's flying the airplane. But you've got to be very careful on the cross-check with iPads on the flight deck. All right, so let's go back to the checklist. So we've done that, and like I say, the thrust setting is referred to the go-around N1 table. Choose one. Captain or first officer's airspeed indication is reliable. In this case, it's the captain's airspeed indication that's reliable. So when toga is pushed, the flight corrector pitch bar may automatically be removed. An AFDS pitch mode change, such as level change, restores the flight corrector pitch bar. Only use the flight corrector guidance on the reliable PFD. Remember, for this scenario, it was the captain's side that was reliable. That's why she or he would be the pilot flying. Remember, very important. Anytime you go around, no matter whether you're in an airspeed unreliable situation, 2-engine normal operation, a 1-engine inoperative operation, regardless, go around is go around, set go around thrust, and making sure that it's enunciated on the PFD and that the thrust levers move forward and go around thrust has been set before you make any flap calls. Very important that both pilots are ensuring that the attitude is correct and the thrust is set. So that would be the end of this checklist for this scenario that we looked at. See you in the next part. Thank you for watching. Don't forget, stay passionate about what you're doing and stay well studied before each flight and know your airplane. Thank you.